Check one, two. All right, so let's move. I want to talk to myself again. It's a rainy, horrible looking day, and I'm driving back home from work once more. Um, Today was a weird day. Um, at work, I had two appointments. I met two different people, two total different human beings. Um, One of them was, well, the first one uh, is the other one who is worth talking about, um, and kind of like recapping in my own mind so that I don't forget about this gentleman because he was really cool. He was actually British, originally from the UK. I want to say, I mean, we talked for 2 hours straight, nonstop. It was a nonstop, you know, 16 hours over time. So that's that YouTube in itself. Anyway, um, yeah, we talked for like 2 hours straight, nonstop, question after question. Uh, I believe he said I knew one from that Manchester area, and his name was Darcy. So Darcy, that's his name. He had the dopest freaking British accent. It's like picture a cool British accent. Like there's so many different British accents. There's the northern there. I don't know. I've heard so many of them. Um, you're thinking of the British Islands too. So like it can be like Irish, Scottish, all those islands up there in Northwest Europe. So many different accents, man. This guy had like that pure freaking cold British accent that you listen to, and you just want to keep listening to the guy. Anything that you would say would sound way more interesting just because he said it with that accent. you know, it's like you were listening to, I don't know, dude, like some historian, that like a narrator of like a cool movie. And that's the funny thing. The funny thing is that this guy was a veteran of the British Army. Okay. And he was on his way to becoming a history professor, like a professor of history, like a historian, or, he's getting his doctorate within a few months. He's actually working on his book right now because, when you become when you get your doctorate, become a professor or a doctor of any kind, um, you have to publish a book or, not to be confused with like, when I try to publish a book with, like supporting Barnes and Nobles or whatever. I don't even know if I pronounce that correctly. I don't care because I'm talking to myself. This is healthy. Okay. Um, so anyway, so I talked to this dude for like 2 hours straight. I didn't listen. So I didn't do my job at all. Like we talked about the job. Um, we talked about the job for like the first 5 minutes. He pretty much let me know, yeah, I'm moving into the roof. There need the separate, blah, blah, blah. We literally talked about that. Like I said, for 5 minutes. So I just told the guy pretty much the company's credentials, a bit of how we would do the job. And, I proceeded to ask him like, so you sound very European, you know, and he's like, yeah, I'm originally from the UK. I'm like, well, I'm originally from Spain. No way. And we just, we just went from there and into a 2 hour epic battle um, of words. No, but it was awesome, man. Because, he's got a lot of knowledge of history, and I'm like a very curious person. So, of course, I have a lot of freaking curiosity and questions to ask, and especially because, he, so I'm married to a U.S. history teacher. So when it comes to U.S. history, um, from uh, like they're from like around the time of the Constitution and the Jesus Christ Civil War and all that stuff. That my wife, she's got all that. That she's got all that cool shit covered. Any questions I might have, she's got stories for days. Um, but this guy had the I don't know, the more modern history knowledge. He had a lot of European knowledge, and above all, he had a ton of I guess his speciality or in a specialty. I don't know. He's when he was good at or like his main gig to put it in you know what I am, layman's terms. Uh, he spent he loved anything related to you know uh history of modern warfare pretty much. So it's World War One on, and also nuclear weapons. You could tell this guy hated nuclear weapons with a passion because of how much he's learned about them. Um, and it was just so cool. Like, I don't even know how many questions I asked this guy. Like what's your opinion on this? From your perspective, what's your opinion on this? We talked about everything. We talked about the war in Ukraine. Um, like why it's taking so. I don't need. Man, I really want to organize this in a way that I don't know if someone listens to it, they will be interested in listening to it. But at the end of the day, it's just me recapping my day and talking about what I talked about with this guy. And we talked about just a lot of things in 2 hours. Um, but he has some very interesting insight on yeah, the war, Russia versus Ukraine and why it's taking so long. Um, Also, I asked him the question, him being an expert in uh, nuclear weapons and war in general. I was asking him like, man, in your honest opinion, what are the possibilities that within my lifetime, or worse, within my son's lifetime, that we might see a full-on nuclear war? And he says it was kind of vague, but at the same time, pretty honest, and then keep in mind he's an older gentleman. I don't know. I say he was like he's I say he was like his mid 50s, to mid 60s, So not like an elderly guy, but an older gentleman. And what he said was pretty much, because that's all along, I'm like, so in my opinion, it's almost like with this, we're depending on the mental health of world leaders for us not to, end up with the end of the world. Pretty much, that's what will be if nuclear war happened. And what he said was kind of, he explained it in a way, and of course, they imagine this very eloquent professor or almost professor, with an awesome, British accent explaining this to you. It was freaking amazing there. I felt like I was in a movie. Um, but he was pretty much saying that no nation, uh, including Russia, has full on authority to do that just for one guy. So even Vladimir Putin, if he gave the order, to launch nuclear weapons, it's not just him. There's always a group of people that they all have to pretty much agree to end the world. Because he said, once nuclear war starts, it'll be the end of the world as we know it. He said, as the song, as the song says, the end of the world as we know it. He said if we start, it's like a domino effect. If we start nuclear, as I do with nuclear weapons, it's game over for humanity. So if somebody gives that order, to start nuclear war, everybody surrounding him that has to press all the buttons and do all the shit. Everybody has to agree with that guy. Like, okay, let's kill ourselves. Let's pretty much keep. Of course, mm, he explained it way better than I just did. And I have to say he's way more eloquent. But that's pretty much what he said. He said that it's not, to which I responded, I'm like, what about a country like North Korea? And he's like, you got me there. That will be the only case scenario in which I can think that they would almost blindly, if not totally blindly, do exactly as their leader says. With that said, for his knowledge, for the knowledge that he's got, he said that um, North Korea simply doesn't have they don't have the weapons, they don't have the technology to do any damage of any significance, or at least to start that domino effect that we're talking about earlier. He said that we would intercept. He explained so many things like that, and that's why I do this, so that I at least remember some of the cool shit that I come across in my day to day life and the people that I meet, um, and things that happen. Because like I said, like my memories not what it used to be, but um so yeah, somebody pretty much said that they simply don't have what it takes to create the damage that we're talking about here. Um, but yes, that will be the only case scenario in which there's a leader and when people drive like this is a freaking circus. Anyway, yeah, North Korea is it pretty much. There'll be the one case scenario that you know, there's one guy, the guy says jump, and everybody's gonna say how high, and then X would happen, but it wouldn't be anything significant compared to what would happen if a superpower like the US or China or Russia or even France, for that matter, were to start a nuclear war. So the way that he explained that, and again, keep in mind, this is, an expert in this, like, this is like, I don't know, like, think of what you, like, are you an expert in anything? If you're listening to this right now, oh my, I can't believe it. I am talking to myself, like, if you're listening to this right now, are you an expert on anything? If you are, this guy is an expert in nuclear weapons and history of war and war history. So he gave some really good insight. Um, man, he was just one of the freaking dudes, man. Like, he makes me want to like start like a real podcast and just have a conversation because it was just such an organic conversation that we had, and it was just one question after the other. And he would just, I would have a question for him, and you know, he would just answer, and he would just like, I don't know. I do feel like it was almost like reading this cool encyclopedia and just like getting all this knowledge and insight. And it was super cool. Super good experience. We talked about, like I said, about a lot of things. I asked him if he watched the movie Oppenheimer. He said that he had not watched the movie. It sounded to me as almost as if he didn't have intentions of watching it. Um, because I didn't ask him much about that. We just kind of moved on to the next thing. But his expression, the way he said it, it almost sounded to me like someone who's seen so much horror already, from nuclear weapons, stuff like that, and what they can do. That is like I don't need anymore. He just gave me that. He gave me that the feel that he says it was like this, and I don't need to watch the movie. I don't need any more than what I've already seen and learned. Uh, you know, so it is what it is. That's kind of that was pretty much it. Um, so anyway, so after that, I drove another I don't know, 45 minutes down south. And I proceeded to meet just the complete opposite type of human. And by that, I mean, I'm not saying this guy was like a, I don't know, shit or anything like that. I'm just saying, it was raining. This guy didn't even invite me his house. I got completely stoked. We're talking about the roof. And, he was just one of those guys that for whatever reason, I don't know if he's sad, but he was a hoarder or maybe he was simply someone who was rude. Uh, when it comes to like, oh, it's freaking raining a lot, and this guy's getting soaked here. You know what? Let me invite him in. I'm not, and I'm not one of those freaking salesmen that tries to get to the kitchen table, quote unquote. I'm like the complete opposite of that shit. Like, if you want to lay on your freaking lawn and talk about your roof laying on your lawn, and you want to do like a prayer to freaking, I don't know, like you want to meditate for a little bit, I'll chill with you. Like, I don't care. But dude, we're talking about it's like thunder and rain outside, okay? And I'm soaked. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just like bare minimum, um, how to call it, just bare minimum courtesy, in my opinion. So, yeah, um, it was just one of those where you just go from one to the other. The one thing is that, today I wasn't able to make any money whatsoever. Number one, because the British guy, I didn't even quote him. Like, I told him, I'm like, man, I'm like already like late to my next appointment. I have to go. I don't want to go, man. Or I keep talking to you. And, the guy was super cool. He's like, oh, my pleasure. You know what? It was a pleasure talking to you. He was like super thankful. And he needed like one of those like handshakes that you can tell. Like you can tell that they both humans were very happy to have met each other. But it was like none of us were expecting that to happen pretty much, just to encounter each other, you know, um, like I said, two guys that came from Europe. Yeah, as a matter of fact, two guys that came from Europe about 15 years ago, and two guys that became American citizens last year. We have that in common too. So, he was like, yeah, I've been here the whole time as a legal resident with a green card. I'm like, saying here, and it was almost like I almost didn't want to like keep saying same here because it almost sounded like cheesy, but it was the truth. And he was like the same freaking story that his wife is American. She works at a school. She's the librarian of this school. My wife's American. She works at this school, but she's that teacher. It was just one of those. Like so many things in common and just a cool conversation. But um, yeah, so that was the highlight of my day. So make sure I told him like I'll make sure to email you all the information and everything like that. And hey, I know you're feeling, it'll end up in being a sale and a future customer. And if not, I'm still very happy to have met that guy. I'm doing well. I'm not worried about, whether if I sell him or not. I mean, it'd be nice to sell him, um, but that's definitely not not that point, and here comes the thing, and I guess this is related to my job. Guy is the first guy. I am going to take my time and I'm going to send this gentleman a very well put together estimate. I'm going to send him PDF files of all the brochures. I'm going to write, I want to take my time and send him a beautiful, well put together quote with everything that he needs and more. And I'm going to do my best to get him the best possible deal that I can get him. Okay. For that number two, I literally wrote a quote like standing in the rain. I mean, not standing in the rain. I'm like, well, give me 5, 10 minutes and then I'll get to your board. I'm just going to break with blah, blah, blah. I go to my car and I literally wrote a quote in like 45 seconds. Like, you know, I didn't even, like I said, I looked at the price. I applied the price. I kept like old standard price. I mean, I didn't like I didn't give my price like double the price that they tell me to tell. It was like, but I didn't like go out of my way to get them any discounts or anything. Like, here's your wet fucking paper. Okay, have a good day. Like, if that's the difference, is uh, like I don't know, man. Like, there's like a bare minimum of respect, like that you can show somebody, and I don't know. Anyway, so I guess that's all I got. I'm on my way home now. Um, I don't know if I'll do some cardio when I get home. Before dinner, I don't know if I'm going to the gym. It depends. My beautiful wife, she's not feeling very well today. So I'm probably just gonna stay home with her and I'll do some cardio there in our 1978 treadmill that we have. That it's like it's almost scary getting on it. Like it does what it needs to do, and that's about it. Other than that, standard day. Um, I feel okay, and yeah. This is this you? Is it is this you? And shut the fuck up.